Yeah, so just some quick introductions. My name is Melissa Yamashita. I am the girls athletic director at Mount Pleasant High School.
Hello, I'm David Brown, new principal of Mount Pleasant High School. Good to see everyone.
Lozano. I'm an associate principal at Mount Pleasant High School.
My name is Mosqueda, and I'm the boys athletics director at Mount Pleasant High School. So we do want to start with the plan of the restart. We do appreciate that everyone was really patient as far as athletics in order to keep everyone safe. I think everyone understood it. It was a little frustrating. It was frustrating for us as well, as much as we want to do sports and get everyone out there. We also had to keep in mind everyone's safety. So this is the plan to restart. We're going to have 2 seasons. The first season is going to be cross country, football, volleyball, and water polo. What the league also stated was a cancellation date. So the practice can start on February 22nd. As long as everyone is cleared, all the athletes are cleared, and the coaches are cleared, we can start practice February 22nd. That's our official practice start date. Unfortunately, we will not be able to compete until we move from the tier that's assigned to the sport. For example, cross country is a sport that could start off right away on February 22nd. If we're still in purple tier February 22nd, cross country is good to go. They could start practice and so forth. For football, volleyball, and water polo, the competition date, March 8th. So if we don't reach orange tier on March 26th, that season gets canceled. We do encourage you to either go to cross country or go to season 2. So seasons 2 actually starts on March 22nd. The purple tier gets to go golf, swimming, track, and tennis. For the red tier, baseball, softball. The orange tier, badminton, soccer, and the yellow tier, basketball and wrestling. Right. So the same thing goes from there. Let's say soccer, they started practice for soccer. We did not reach the orange tier. From that point, you can move over to any of the sports in the purple or red tier. Cancellation date for that is May 10th. It is tough for a lot of the students. The students, athletes are going to have to choose, unfortunately, but this is only for this year. Next year, we're hoping everything goes back to normal.
So essentially, we have just 2 seasons this year. Instead of fall, winter, spring, we have season 1 and season 2. They're extremely condensed, as Mr. Mosqueda was saying, into 8 weeks. Basically 2 weeks of conditioning / practice, and then 6 weeks of competition should we reach the appropriate tier. However, before anybody can be cleared to even condition, you must, as parents, guardians, must fill out an account on athleticlearance.com. Old school, it used to be called Register My Athlete, I think it was called, but now it's athleticlearance.com. Most of you are familiar with it, I think. So as a parent or guardian, you need to set up the account for your athlete, including medical insurance. There was a little blurb in there about transportation authorization, and then you electronically sign it. All physicals are uploaded onto athleticlearance.com as well, and we are going to try to put the new parent opt-in form under additional forms on athletic clearance, so everything will be there in one spot and you don't have to print up and scan. But I understand that now it's a little bit challenging to get physicals. If your athlete has had a physical at the same place, for example, they have their regular doctor and they're just going back to get an update, then I think a video physical would be appropriate, would be okay. But we would really prefer an in-person physical, and I think a lot of places are opening up for that now. Remember that a physical is only good for 1 year. We have to check the expiration date. And it's very important that me as an athletic director, as Mr. Mosqueda, we're able to get a good picture. When you upload your picture, please make sure it has the student's name, it has an expiration date of the date of the physical of when it is taken, and it is clear, and it has the doctor's signature. And there is a marking. Usually they have some kind of box that they need to check that says cleared for all activity or cleared for all sports or something to that effect. If it doesn't have your student's name, if it doesn't have the date, if it doesn't have the doctor's signature, if it doesn't say specifically clear for all sports, then we can't clear your student to participate in conditioning or practice. There used to be a form on there for the location on there for ASB. We're not requiring the ASB form be uploaded anymore. So it's the physical and then your parent opt-in form. The parent opt-in form too has changed as the regulations for sports have changed. So the latest parent opt-in form came out in January. If you uploaded a parent opt-in form prior to January, we're gonna ask that you upload it again. I know, I'm sorry. We apologize beforehand.
The grading period is this Friday. So we are using this grading period as far as eligibility. The eligibility for season 1 would start at this time. For season 2, the end of the 5th grading period is April 1st. So athletes also have to make sure that they make grade on this grading period as well as the next grading period, since season 2 is locked in between both grading periods. Now there is probation. We still are able to do probation for the underclassmen. It really would not make any sense, because if you use it now, you're not going to be able to use it next year. And the season's only 8 weeks anyways, so it kind of would just be a waste to use your probation now. For the seniors, we do want you to focus on graduating, right? So if you're not passing, maybe you should focus a lot more as far as graduating. So as far as probation, the rules of the probation goes, if a student has below 2.0 and has 1 F, then they're eligible for probation, right? But if there's 2 Fs, then you're ineligible for probation. Those are the rules. You have to have a 2.0 GPA to be eligible to be an athlete, and have no more than 1 F.
Okay, so transportation. I know sometimes that you can't all be there right at the end of a contest in order to pick up your athlete. We're requiring all coaches to make sure that all the athletes have been picked up. The coaches aren't going to bring them home, but they will wait with the athlete for their ride. Okay, so if at the end of the contest you're 5-10 minutes late, no worries. Get there, be as prompt as you can, please, so everybody can get home and get on. But the coaches will not leave any student athlete alone at a practice or a contest. And especially this year, the school doesn't have funds for transportation, and we do not plan rides. So please try to, maybe you can do some carpooling or something like that, but just understand that the school is not involved with ride planning at all. But there is a transportation authorization paper on athletic clearance. If you are interested in being the soccer mom or the team dad, that would be awesome. And you can ask Mr. Mosqueda, myself, Mr. Solorzano, or Mr. Brown at the office for the appropriate paperwork with your, we're going to need copies of your insurance, et cetera, et cetera. So anything that you can do to help us out, that would be hugely appreciated.
About halfway there, we're going to talk about the communication between parents and coaches. We do encourage our coaches to meet with parents, especially before the sport. So the communication you should expect from the coach, of course, would be information about the members of the coaching staff. Most sports only have 1 coach, but some sports like football would have 3. Track has 4. The information you get from the coaches is who's the coaching staff and who would be directly coaching your child, your athlete. That's something you can expect from the coach. Also, the expectations as the coach with your child athlete, location and times of both practices and contests. So we encourage the coaches to share with you as parents schedule, as well as team requirements. So if there's any fees, special equipment, off-season conditioning, specific team rules, as well as procedures in case your child gets injured. It's good that they would have your phone number. As much as possible, we give the coach that information from when you register. And of course, discipline procedures that may result in the denial of your child's participation. A lot of the coaches establish rules such as you have to be in practice if you plan on playing.
Also, too, with the communication from the coaches, we would encourage you to communicate in a positive way as a parent, as a guardian, as somebody who cares about your athlete with the coach. So if your child has expressed anything to you, then please feel free to speak with me or Mr. Mosqueda about it. Feel free to speak with the coach about it. If you have any schedule conflicts, appointments, or any kind of something that will prevent your child from going to practice or to a contest, please let the coach know in advance as a professional courtesy. Any kind of medical problems that would adversely impact your child's performance, your child's safety, definitely please let him or her know. Although it's on the athletic clearance, sometimes the coaches have such a large team that they don't have the time, or they might forget just even, the individual athlete's situation. If you have any specific concerns about a coach's philosophy, please remember that these are coaches. They're doing a lot of this because they love the sport and they want to connect with the students. So if you have any concerns, please approach them in a positive way, and just do it with your students' best interest in mind. Anything beyond that, I encourage you to speak with Mr. Mosqueda or myself about it, and then we can be a liaison with the coach, and we'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, so definitely appropriate concerns in discussing with the coach. Of course, if you feel that your athlete is being mistreated physically and mentally, definitely it's your right to tell the coach. Definitely it's appropriate to discuss with the coach ways to improve your child. Sometimes, your child more than the coach does, and if you think if your athlete would improve a certain way, definitely it's okay to talk to the coach. If there's any concerns about your child's behavior, that would be appropriate to discuss. And of course, family concerns that might have an emotional impact on your child or his or her athletic participation, that would be appropriate to discuss with the coach. Now, on this next one, this is a big deal that we wish to push, and that's talking to a coach after a contest. If you want to talk to the coach to say, hey, great job, coach, or better luck next time, coach, that's okay. But if you have a serious issue, you want to wait 24 hours before you really talk to that coach. We've had a situation where a parent did not like a choice from a coach, so she went during the game. It was a volleyball game. During the game, interrupting her ability to coach a team just to tell the coach that she had an issue. That was kind of inappropriate. Now, if you really need to get that information off your chest, definitely you could talk to any of the admin or Miss Yamashita. All right, you could talk to me too. We could even schedule a parent meeting between you and the coach and us to kind of hash things out. So these are the things that the coaches have to go through. So we do have an affinity for our coaches. Like what Ms. Yamashita says, a lot of the times the coaches, they become coaches because not just because they love the sport, but because they love the service and they love to see the growth of our athletes. So we do hold an affinity to them.
Please understand that these courses that are up here, a lot of them, they have to pay out of their own pocket before they even get cleared to step out onto a Mount Pleasant field for conditioning. So again, we want to protect, we want to keep these coaches here, and we want to help them grow and improve as a coach as much as we want to build the sports program, athletics program at Mount Pleasant, as much as we want to help your child become a better person and a better athlete.
So what we do expect from you parents, if the contest is at another school, we ask that you please uphold the integrity of Mount Pleasant High School. Definitely keep in good communication with the coaches, support our coaches during the game, support the officials during the game, especially make sure it's a positive support for all the athletes, not just our athletes, our coaches or officials. A lot of times we are there or admin are there. We don't mind if you're yelling loud. We don't mind if you're yelling plays. We encourage it. We've been into games where we say, wow, that parent is really loud, but we appreciate it, especially when they're yelling some positive stuff. It's when it becomes negative, and that's where we have to get involved. But we do want to keep the integrity of our Mount Pleasant community and keep it positive. And definitely, if there's any serious concerns, with the coaches or the games, please let us know and we'll take care of it.
Okay, so donations, we would appreciate donations. Unfortunately, we can't give you a tax ID number for the donation. However, we'll give you a letter that says, this person has kindly donated this amount of money, and you can use that as your tax write-off. There is a process for fundraising at Mount Pleasant. All of the money that is raised by these individual clubs is used to go back into the students. They're not going to go back. They don't go into, my salary or Mr. Mosqueda's salary or anything else at Mount Pleasant. If the football team raises money, there's their own fundraising, then that money goes to those students in that year. So it's not even going to be used to buy, say, warm-ups for, a team in a couple of years. Okay, so these are some questions that have come up because of this very special circumstance that we find ourselves in. Cohorts are essentially groups of people who are able to work together. And so for an indoor sport such as volleyball or badminton, right now the cohort is at 15 athletes and 1 adult. It could also be, for example, 14 athletes, 2 adults. So a total of 16 combined people indoors. Outdoors for football, for track and field and cross country and all the other ones, it's 31 athletes and 1 adult. Again, it could be 30 athletes and 2 adults, for example, but this is the maximum amount of people that we can have in a practice area at one time. The cohorts are not allowed to mix. We are not going to have 2 cohorts of football, for example, on the field practicing at the same time, which is why, we've asked the coaches to provide a practice schedule so we can make sure that the times are staggered and the areas are staggered. We can only have 1 group at a time. Your students cannot participate in any league. Once we get started with the cohorts and the season begins, your students cannot participate in any AAU leagues, any outside leagues if you are going to participate in Mount Pleasant sports. They can, however, if they're doing a cohort on campus, for example, during the day, they can participate in an athletic cohort in the afternoon. So if your student is on campus for a tutorial, for example, or for some other reason they're involved in a cohort during the day, they can also join a team and be on that cohort in the afternoon. Unfortunately, with the state that we're in, the tier that Santa Clara is in right now, there will be no spectators at the contests. This could all change. Remember, the word of this whole season, the key word is flexibility. Things are changing month to month, week to week, sometimes even. We're going to keep hoping and crossing our fingers that this changes for everybody's sake by the time that we really start competition. Between season 1 and season 2, a student athlete can go from a sport in season 1 and then move right into season 2 with no wait time. There used to be a wait time in between sports, and now there's no wait time because of the condensed seasons.
All right, so as far as JV teams, if we have enough participation for a JV team, we can do it, but per league rules, we have to field the varsity team first. So if we only get 15 people for football, if it's a freshman, they'll be playing football for varsity football. As far as locker rooms goes, we are not allowed to use the locker room as per the district rule. Locker rooms will be open for the restrooms. During conditioning, the question was can we use the weight room? The weight room, no. But you can take the equipment and take it outside. We do ask it would be a group of 2, where it would be the spotter and the lifter, and they get to switch. And then we're going to provide all the equipment for sanitization of the equipment afterwards. So then all that equipment, they're going to be expected to clean, right? The custodians will clean the room afterwards, but they will not go into cleaning detail as far as the equipment. So the dumbbells, the benches, they're not really going to sanitize that, but they'll sanitize the doorknobs, the tables, the benches, and stuff like that.
Another thing that you as a parent or guardian are signing when you sign this parent opt-in form is that you are agreeing to that your student hasn't been sick before practice, that you're keep maintaining the temperature, your student's temperature has not been elevated, that you're there's things like that you are following all Santa Clara guidelines. If a coach or a member of a cohort, an athlete, were to get a positive COVID test, then that whole cohort would be suspended and everybody would have to quarantine for 14 days. If an athlete misses a practice with his or her cohort, they can't go to another cohort and practice with another cohort because they can't overlap. There's not going to be any overlapping practices. Like I said, we're going to get the practice schedule from all the coaches. Safety procedures. Okay, so again, in the new parent opt-in, it is mandatory that coaches wear masks at all times. It is mandatory that athletes wear some kind of face covering at all times, regardless of exertion. And it's on the parent opt-in. Some sports are exempt. Water polo, swimming, cross country, and track are exempt because they're outside and because of their, I guess, more physical nature.
And water.
In the water, right, yeah, that helps. There is no congregating after the practice. The kids can't hang out and, do any kind of team building like they used to, really. We're just kind of, you go to campus, you do your practice conditioning, you go home, that's it, you're covered the whole time. And then during conditioning, so right now the coaches, all the coaches who have gotten their paperwork in are cleared to start conditioning with only the athletes who have gotten their paperwork in. All the cleared athletes and the cleared coaches. So they are cleared to do conditioning. Conditioning is just skill work. It's just really like cardiovascular stuff, weightlifting. It does not include contact. So there is no man-on-man contact for football, for example. No sharing of equipment right now. Okay, on official practice start date, that is when they can start the actual physical contact. Okay, that was a mouthful, wasn't it?
A question about the opt-in form. Where can I find that, the new one? Because we turned one in November and I can't find one that's newer than that.
Okay, so I will, we'll send it out through School Loop. Okay, the new one, we'll send it out through School Loop. I know Mr. Colorzano in the office has hard copies, but you might not want to. I'll send it out through School Loop, and then if you can't find it then, Ms. Serrano, then just email Mr. Mosqueda or myself, and we'll get you copies.
Okay, thank you, because I want to get that done. Thanks.
I just put it earlier today on the athletic clearance.
Oh, so we can get it from there.
You should be able to get it from there. I replaced the older one with the new one.
A sport that is in, say, the red tier would be able to start practicing once the county hit the red tier, regardless of the practice start date.
So what you're saying, that say the practice start date is March 22nd, but we hit for season 2, but we hit red tier on March 5th. Can they start? They can start they could have started conditioning, Ms. Garcia.
Right.
So conditioning is different than practice, though. Questions that are coming up that we haven't thought of because this is such a new situation.
Right.
So.
Yeah. It might have been before they had the new schedule. But yeah, there is the new schedule has an official posted start date. So once that's there, then we're good to go.
And you said there's no wait time between like season 1, season 2. Is there a wait time between an outside team and a school team? Having to stop the outside team before they start the school team?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that we've been told.
Yeah.
I had a question that was
Alexa.
mostly about soccer.
Yeah.
So if we're in purple and soccer is in orange, can our conditioning still start before the practice date? Or do we have to wait till we reach orange to start our conditioning?
You can start, conditioning can start. Conditioning can start. Yeah.
Okay, and will the coaches send out the conditioning date since it's going to differ from the practice date?
So for soccer, we are in the midst of hiring a new soccer coach.
For the girls?
For girls, yes.
When it hits March 22nd, we can't play outside league anymore at all, starting
Because-
that day?
Yes.
Okay. And then when soccer ends, we can, like the previous woman asked, we can start practicing with our club team right after that.
What you do outside of our practice and our competition is what you do.
Okay.
Okay.
And my last question is, since soccer is an outside sport, do we have to wear masks during competition, even if we play other schools?
As far as I know, right now, yes.
Okay.
Things can change though, but right now, yes.
My daughter does swimming and water polo. So what is it looking like right now for the season? Does it look like they're going to be able to condition, or?
Conditioning can start soon. We're getting our coaches cleared. So the main
Okay.
thing, the main obstacles in conditioning is that we have to get the students cleared, we have to get the coaches cleared. And with this extra paperwork, the extra step, it's just taking a little bit longer. So we're getting the coaches cleared with swimming and water polo. For conditioning, it's one person per lane, one swimmer per lane, or two, maybe, Marcus, right? Depending. Anyways, we're getting everybody cleared, and they should start soon.
Let's
So
also
when will
remind
the-
folks that conditioning is voluntary. It's not mandatory that coaches hold conditioning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And will the coaches be reaching out to the athletes with schedules and stuff once they've been cleared through the administration?
Either the coaches will or we will. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah, make sure your information with Mount Pleasant is current because that's what we go off of. Okay?
Okay. All right.
Will the students be using masks while they're swimming?
No, swimming, water polo, cross country, and track are exempt from the mask thing.
If an athlete tests positive for COVID, will the cohort also be canceled?
Suspended for 14 days. Everybody has to quarantine. Coaches are getting tested weekly. It's mandatory that the coaches get tested weekly. And there are COVID test kits on Mount Pleasant campus. So we talked about that as well.
I just had a question around the physical. I know you mentioned it. Does it have to have a date of 2021, the physical itself? Because my son got one for another sport from a travel team last year. I'm assuming all I gotta do is just reach out to his pediatrician or his doctor and re-sign another one.
It can't expire within 1 year of that season. So for example, if we're starting in March, it can't expire before March 2021.
Okay.
So if he's got one from the end of last year, December, he's golden.
Then the last thing I think the lady asked about the COVID, we're not making our kids take mandatory tests, correct?
No, but when you sign in the opt-in, you are saying that he or she doesn't have symptoms, that the temperature, you're taking the temperature, routinely, things like that.
Is you said 31 athletes. What happens if we get 40? Is there going to be a cut, or is that up to the coach discretion?
Then you'd have two cohorts.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so you'd have like 15 and 15 or 20 and 20, whatever.
So, do we still have to sign up even though we might not be able to do soccer or get to the orange too?
Sign up. Do you still have to go on athletic clearance, Nicholas?
Yeah.
Yes. Because you want to make sure. Let's just go as if you want to be ready, right? When coach says, "Hey, we're in the orange tier," you don't. It takes a while too. It's a process. Your mom's got to get you a physical and all that stuff. So just get ready.
Okay.
Okay.
Said that you guys needed volunteers for to clean some of the equipment. I don't mind volunteering, but what time are the volunteer hours to help clean up the equipment after the athletics?
It was just that was a suggestion. I said that one of the things that a volunteer could do. Let me put this out there, you guys. A volunteer, if you're an official, when you are an official volunteer at Mount Pleasant, you have to do the volunteer packet. and be fingerprinted and do all those same the TB test and all that. It is a process, but I'm thinking that if there were any time, this is when, you know, we have extra work for our coaches, and it would be really helpful. Volunteer hours would be up to the coach whenever the coach needed somebody.
What if I'm clear at another school? Do I need to be cleared at Eastside Union School District? Because I'm cleared from my school, like fingerprint.
You would think, but I don't. You would hope, right? That when they don't talk though, it might be a little. It might be a little expedited. It might go a little bit faster, the process. But I think you still have to go through the same. And we can walk you through that though.
Just one last question about cohorts.
Yeah.
CCSCIF had at one point come out and said that they were doing away with the cohort size. Did the district take a stricter stance?
I didn't hear it. Marcus, did you hear anything about that?
That as far as I know, that came from the county.
Oh yeah.
Well, that was a county.
That was the county. That was a whole. So
is the district being more taking a stricter stance?
We have the ability to go stricter, but not less strict.
The stand of the district, as far as the superintendent, he does want to move forward with it, but he will follow the instructions of the county.
If you're a freshman right now and you want to play for season 2 basketball, do you sign up right now for athletic clearance or wait until that month?
I'd get started right now, because you got to get, like I said, it's a process. It's going to take a while. So make sure you have your grades, make sure your grades are up. You got a 2.0. Make sure, get a physical. Getting a physical done might take some time. And then get that athletic clearance online started. Yeah, get it done.
So where can I get the physical paper?
There's one online on athleticlearance.com. Sometimes your doctor will have his or like Kaiser has their own form that they use.
So only one F is acceptable this year?
A 2.0. So you have to have a 2.0 and only one F. If you have a 2 Fs, even if you have a 2.5, then you still can't. 2 Fs are out. Okay?
Okay, what if you have 2 Fs right now and you raise it up by like the next report card?
That's what you do. That's exactly what you do.
I was just wondering, how's the softball season gonna go? Because I'm also in my league team as well, and then I heard that once school starts, then I can't go play with my league. So I'm not sure how that's gonna go.
We were saying, so once season starts for softball, and softball starts practicing, official practice, which is March 22nd, you can't play for your league anymore.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And it's a for sure thing, right?
Nothing's for sure at this point. COVID wasn't supposed to be for sure. We were not supposed to be on a pandemic right now. Nothing's for sure. That's what we're living by the edge of our teeth right here, Yuvia. We'll keep you, Mr. Mosqueda and I will keep you up to date as much as we get up to date, okay?
I have a question. How realistic is it for girls' soccer season to start this year? Yes.
That's a hard one, Mr. Quezada. I don't want to say yes or no. Things are changing all the time. I didn't expect us to go into the purple tier as we did. Santa Clara County is a huge county. Mount Pleasant area has we've got a lot high incidence or high concentration of COVID cases. I'm hoping the girls have an opportunity, all the athletes have an opportunity to at least get out there, get some conditioning, some practice time. Maybe a couple of competitions would be awesome. Mr. Mosqueda and I and the admin are working as if, it's all going gung-ho. We are ready to go.
Okay, how about for games? If it does go, do the students have to wear the mask when they're playing?
Right now, that's the mandate from the district, yeah.
Okay.
There's some good sports ones.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a throwing coach for track and field?
As of right now, we have one hired track and field coach. Coach Butler is coming back. And as of now, so if anybody, we need badminton, we need track and field, throwing, I believe distance.
Ms. Yamashita, does that mean Coach B is gone?
Coach B is Coach Butler?
No, Coach B as the girl track and field coach at
He's Coach Butler, Alexa.
I'm sorry. I know her as Coach B. We never called her Coach Butler.
Sorry. She's there. Okay.
I noticed there was a mention in regards to the money that each sport raises, they get to keep, or the club keeps. So there's no general fund this year?
Well, there is general fund, but I'm just saying the money that the teams fundraise, because they raised it themselves, it stays within that team. We're not going to put it back into, and it stays with this year too.
So as far as the kids raising the money, we do have to spend it that year. If the kids said we want to use it to celebrate with the pizza, perfect, right? So whatever they want to do with the money, they can. They just, when the process is, when they decide to fundraise for that money, they need to write what that money is for, right? And then we follow what the paperwork says.
Be at a loss if I didn't question for cheerleading, because I have 46 girls that call and text and email me constantly wanting to know where do they fit in with all of this. I did reach out to Mr. Mosqueda, and he said that we would follow football and we would follow basketball. And so I know that, before COVID last year when we picked the team, we had them fill out the physical forms, and they also did the opt-out forms. Is that the same? This is the one that I got, I want to say, before June. Is that the same form, or do you guys have a new form?
We have a January edition, version 2.0. Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's on the athleticlearance.com. Mr. Mosqueda uploaded it to athleticlearance.com.
Okay.
So the girls can find it. Yeah.
And so are they supposed to, because I know like cheer is tricky, right? So it's not kind of considered a sport. It's more like an activity. Would they still have to do the clearance? Or would they just have to do physical and the opt-out form?
We do want them to do the clearance. It is still one of the school programs. Of course, they have to make grades. We have to make sure that they're safe. One of the most dangerous activities is cheerleading,
yes.
Especially when it's competitive cheerleading.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we do want to make sure that everyone's protected. It'd be great if we could do conditioning still. I mean, if you do it outdoors when the weather's better. We do appreciate when the girls. I know the girls love it. They love to be with the cheerleading team, and we do want to continue to encourage that. And then if we do have football and basketball, definitely would like to incorporate that within the games as long as we're allowed to.
Yeah, and I know that because the seasons are shorter, I'll be losing a lot of girls to the actual sport. Yeah. So, it's but I encourage it. Do the sport, and cheerleading will be around if you're not a senior.
I know.
Definitely. I know. Keep the girls that are not in the sport. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for understanding.
Because I'm gonna do badminton with my cousin, and we want to know when conditioning starts and practice. Because my mom's our only ride, and she also has work, so it's gonna be kind of tight. So we want to know when it starts.
So times for that will depend on your coach. So the practice date is March 22nd since it's season 2, but whatever time your coach is available, because sometimes they work too. So they got to make it around their schedule, the practice. So and that's one of the coaches that we're looking to hire. Once we hire a coach, then that coach will reach out to the badminton players and let you guys know. Okay.
How will the coach reach out to us?
You will have your information because you're going to sign up for athletic clearance, right?
Yes. Okay.
There you go. And that's Mrs. Denton as well. That's another reason why it's great for the cheerleaders to sign up for athletic clearance, so you can have their information for emergencies and for contact information.
So my understanding, the parent opt-in form, is that us parents letting you know that our child does not have any COVID symptoms?
You're basically agreeing that you are going to monitor your child's temperature, and that you're not going to send your child to practice or conditioning if they have symptoms of COVID, that you haven't been exposed, things like that, that you are going to take the responsibility of all that COVID stuff from home.
Okay. And then another thing, will there be any temperature check-ins during practice and conditioning?
No, that's one thing that you are signing, that you are.
Oh, so that's what, okay.
On the opt-in.
All right.
Could they do fever checks to check the kids if they have fever? I know that we're responsible as parents, but we all get busy. I know I'll be checking my kid. I just want to make sure that there's just that extra step taken.
I'm sorry, but we don't have the equipment, nor can we, we're not prepared to ask our coaches of that, our coaches to do that. So that's why, we're having the parents agree that you are taking responsibility. And then once the athlete is on campus, then we assume responsibility. But before the kid gets there, then I'm sorry.
What happens if a coach notices that a child has a fever, they're a little too hot? What would they do?
They would send them home. They would call you. They would send them home. They would have them sit down, have some water, send them home, definitely. And then it would be the responsibility of the parent then to get the child tested if it needed, get the child tested and then let us know. And then if anybody, coach or athlete, tests positive for COVID, then the whole cohort is suspended. Okay, we ready to call it? Yeah. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Again, thanks for coming. We got February break coming up. Stay healthy, stay safe. And also too, feel free to email us through the Mount Pleasant website with any other questions that you think of afterwards. And then we'll do our best. Please check School Loop and your email. So we're going to do our best to keep everybody posted.